Hi, I'm Lee Herbert, and my hair has its own gravitational pull now. Watch this, when I do this, like I can feel it pulling me in a certain direction. It's amazing. But that's not why we're here today. Today, we're here to talk about the Cane TV Waero wireless headset system. It comes in multiples of 2, 3, 4, and lots more. I've gone with the 4-pack, so let's open up the box and see what's inside. So as you can see, they fold down nice and neat, which I like. It sort of keeps it nice and compact. You've got little cutouts for your batteries and your battery chargers. You do have cables. Interestingly enough, there aren't cutouts for the cables. I've got those in my pocket, but yeah, the cables will just be loose. But normally you're not going to have the charging stuff in here all the time. But now let's talk about what these actually are and how they work and where you would use them. So as you can see, it's a standard sort of wireless headset system. You unfold like that, flip that around, flip your microphone around and adjust, put it on your head because it's a headset, and there you go. A cool feature of this is when you want to mute this, all you do is you flick the microphone up and that mutes the system because the system is always on. So these, when they're turned on, are always talking to each other and you're always hearing what someone is saying, but you only hear what they're saying when they unmute by doing that. Pretty cool. So let's look at where you would use these. The first one that would obviously come to mind is in events. I know, right? 2020, who's shooting events anymore? But there's still sporting stuff going on and we will get back to shooting events. And these are really handy when you're doing those events. For example, there's a couple of times when we've been shooting some concerts and I've got someone on a long lens at the back of the room, and on the stage we've got the other shooter on a gimbal getting some gimbal stuff, and the person in the back of the room goes, "Hey, gimbal person, could you just move to the left? I need to get the shot," and then you can get right back into it. Now, during a loud concert, you can't shout across there, and you generally don't want to shout on stage anyway. So being able to have these and communicate with each other, really useful. Even in a wedding situation, it might be quite useful because you might have someone at the back of the ceremony filming the ceremony with a longer lens, getting some audience shots, things like that. And you then got someone in the front getting those beauty close-up shots of the couple, doing their thing. And very often the one at the back wants to say to the one at the front, "Hey, just move. I can't throw something at you, so move because I need to get the shot." And if you've got these, easy to communicate. The last one that I'll mention in terms of use cases is with cars and moving things. So if you're shooting cars, normally you've got someone at the back of a truck or so on with the door open, on a gimbal, normally getting some shots of the car, and you might want to communicate with the passenger or the driver in the car and say, "Hey, we're going to be speeding up, we're going to be slowing down." These are really useful for something like that. In terms of specs, the range on these is 1,200 feet to 366 meters, which I'm sure you'll agree is pretty darn far, particularly if you have to run that, so give it a try and let me know. It is line of sight, so if there are walls and things in between you, that is going to affect the range. I haven't been able to test that much because I live in Melbourne, Australia, and we're still in lockdown, so I can barely leave my house just to check the range on these, which I'll show you in a moment. So that is something that I do want to sort of talk about in terms of this review. I haven't really been able to test these as well as I would have liked to because, for example, I would have liked to have tested signal noise to take them down into the CBD where there's lots of Wi-Fi, there's lots of radio, and see if that affects these in any way. I haven't been able to do that. Having said that, we've got about 7 or 8 Wi-Fi networks just floating around my house from my neighbors and us, never had any issues. That then brings me on to battery life. The battery life is rated for 12 to 15 hours and it takes 2 hours to recharge the batteries. I can confirm that it does only take about 2 hours to recharge the batteries from flat. In terms of getting it to run for 15 hours straight, well, I got better things to do with my life. So what I did is I ran it over 3 days in like 6 hours and whatever many hours were left. And I got it to about 14 and a half hours. So I got half an hour less than the stated runtime, but that was more than the initial one because they say 12 to 15, so it was closer to 15 than it was to 12, so pretty happy with the battery life. In terms of the actual range and testing these in real life situations, the best I can do is what I'm about to show you now. So let's go outside into the sunshine and let's go test the range. So here's my lovely wife who's very graciously volunteered to help me out, and they're building a house next door, so you might hear a little bit of that. And basically we've got the headsets on and I'm going to just go in that direction and see how far I can get before I cut out. So let's get to it. And I can tell you that on the way there is definitely downhill, and on the way back is definitely uphill. That demonstrated that the range is pretty darn good. I got about 260 give or take meters. And the other thing is I'm really out of shape. But that's not, a mystery to most people. Let's go back to the studio. So as you can see, the range is pretty darn good on these, even though I wasn't able to get the whole 1,200 feet away. Pretty darn handy. One thing to explain about the way that the range on these works is they work off of a master unit. So this one that I've got in my hands is the master unit, and you can get 1,200 feet or 366 meters away from this in any direction with the other 3 units, but you can't get more than 1,200 feet away. So for example, I've got the master unit on, and I can have a shooter with one of these 1,200 feet in that direction, and I can have another shooter with another one of these in 1,200 feet in that direction. You get the basic idea. So that's the way the range works. And that brings me on to one of the things that I'm not that thrilled about is the only label that I've got that shows me that this is the master unit as opposed to just one of the other units is there's a little A on the inside here. And that's all it is, and that's a sticker. That could come off. So it'd be nice if there was something a bit more visual that as soon as I open up the box, I can see, oh, okay, cool, that's the master one. I'm going to grab the master one, and away I go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some colored tape on the top here so it's easy for me to identify the master unit. You've then got a power button, so on and off, hold down on, hold down off, volume up and down, very important because you want to be able to control the volume. And yeah, I mean, I think they're a good buy for $498 US. I think it's a good investment to have these on set. I think they are going to be very useful. I think particularly with the fact that for at least another year or however long, we're going to need to be aware of being COVID safe on set and things like that. So you want to keep distance away from people. I mean, it's not that big a deal because you could just shout across the room, I suppose. But if you're filming something, you don't want to stop the filming and go, hey, Jeanette, can you just turn that light a little bit to the left? Whereas if you've got one of these and you're far enough away from the talent, if Jeanette's on the light here on the left here and I just want to change, I can just jump down. Hey Jeanette, can I just ask you quickly, can you just move the light just 5 degrees to the left? Yeah, cool, thanks. Yeah, that's pretty much my look at the KTV Waero. The final thing that I want to show you is, well, being locked inside with my family for 2 months, we've had to get a little bit creative in terms of how we can use these and get good value out of them. So here's a couple of the ways that we've gotten value and use out of these while being stuck at home with the family. Catch you next time. Papa bear to baby bear, Papa bear to baby bear, are you ready to initiate Operation Mummy Ambush?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Ready to initiate Operation Ambush Mummy?
Yes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go!